Welcome to the first ever episode of Grumpy Grunts podcast. This podcast is brought to you by no one because currently we have no money coming in from advertising. But this could be brought to you by you if you contact us on any of our social media pages or this YouTube channel. So hit us up because we have some good deals for you. All right, man. Let's talk intro.
That was actually a pretty good intro today.
Thanks,
A little,
man.
little spill you had right there. It's pretty nice.
Thanks, man. It was off the top of the heezy, brother. Off the top of the heezy.
It's pretty cool.
All right. So let's talk about what Grumpy Grunts podcast is supposed to be about,
Okay.
and let's see if it evolves into what we initially started it to be. But I think for me, this has been a couple years in the making. I listen to a lot of podcasts at work, sitting in the office on the daily grind, and a lot of what I listen to, I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about too. You know, like I listen to them and I'm like, man, that's really interesting. I like to explore a lot of topics and get deeper, and I'm just not challenged in that way in my daily life and my daily job. So a lot of this is for, I think, me and you to be able to talk openly about PTSD and what it is to be a veteran in this world. A lot of what you hear is from people who aren't veterans, and I think that a lot of veterans are scared to talk about it. But I think I want to be one of the ones who breaks the stigma and breaks the feeling of fear in a lot of veterans that you can talk about it and maybe offer some ways that I've found in my life uh, to get better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know for a lot of veterans, it's really hard to open up. I know for, for me, it took me 2 years before I even started to do any kind of treatment or even ask questions or like trying
Right.
to seek any kind of help. And I had plenty of friends, other Army veterans, military buddies, friends and family all try to get me to go and seek help and stuff. And like I felt like for the most part that I was in control and I can do without and I'd be okay and I would be all right. But then all reality of it is that I wasn't like I really did need help and it took a long time before I realized like it's okay to go get help. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's a lot of vets out there that are still doing it by themselves, and I feel like there's not a big thing out there for vets like trying to help other vets like tell their story, and I feel like that hopefully that's something that we can do with this podcast is just bring vets together and let them tell their story, and maybe it can help motivate other vets out there to go get help if they need it or if they feel that they need it, or maybe just maybe they can uh, talk to us back and forth on Facebook, on different
Yeah.
social medias, ask us, how we overcame certain things, and hopefully we can come up with good ideas and good topics for them to get into. So, everything, just everything will be better, and like I feel like for a long time, like, over the last couple months, like whenever we started actually doing more for other people and actually doing more for ourselves, it's actually made me like I feel like I'm a better person,
Yeah.
and I feel more confident in myself, and there's a lot more things that I'm out there more willing to do, going out and trying to accomplish these different goals, just because of the treatment and talking and just being open about my problem. Even if it's with my friends or family or coworkers at work or my boss or whatever, I try to be more open with them and explain them what the PTSD is, and for the most part, people are willing to hear you out, and whenever they get a better understanding, they're they'll go a little bit farther to help you out if there's a problem because they know what you've been through, and I feel like people should be a little bit more open with different situations. So, uh, like with their boss and stuff, so that it helps them out have a better life. They can get back to living the life that they want to live. Uh, what they consider normal instead of being locked up in their house. Like you know that for a year I probably didn't do much. I stayed I went to work and I came back and I
you left
stayed
on
in my room, you know what I'm saying?
you left only when you had to.
Yeah.
But you really hit on a point though earlier. And I think one of the main things that PTSD makes you feel is it makes you feel alone. You know, and there's a lot of desperation, and there's a lot of vulnerability. There's a lot of fear, but it's the feeling of being alone. And you were talking about once people have a little bit more understanding, that they'll go a little bit further to help you, and they'll be a little bit more compassionate. And I think it's that understanding that is the missing link in a lot of families, because like I want this podcast to also be for family members. I want it to be for people with PTSD, veterans with PTSD, but I also want it to be for the family members, because it's been my experience that people just don't understand. They just don't know what to do. And a lot of times the way that a veteran reacts is a lot more aggressive. And we don't see the body language, but it's programmed into us. We're not going to see it. It's normal for us. It's become our norm. You know what I mean? And I feel that it's within that misunderstanding that a lot of the division exists. You know, I think that if veterans could understand better that civilians really don't get it, and that's okay, because there's no way that they can get it. Because if you ask a veteran, they'll tell you have to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to do it. So it's not right for veterans to hold our family members at fault for not knowing how to react, because we're going to sit there and say that you can't understand it anyway. You know, and that's just, it's kind of a double standard. And I think that veterans need to understand that. But I also think that family members need to educate themselves better, and to put some work in to understand what it's like, and to have those hard conversations and those uncomfortable conversations, because you have to remember as a family member that even though this particular conversation or this particular discussion that you're having with the veteran is uncomfortable for you, that veteran has been uncomfortable more times than you can count, in more shitty situations than you can count, and they didn't complain. So you can at least go through one uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know for the most part, like, people that when they describe, like, when they're talking about my character or my personality to other people, they have nothing but good things to say. But sometimes, they might say, oh, he has his moments. Or sometimes he just, sometimes he just, it's too much for him, you know what I'm saying? And people don't realize that, like, like, a lot of people have a lot of issues and a lot of problems, and a lot of people argue and a lot of stuff. And I feel like a lot of times, even if we just blow up just a little bit, people fear us because there's like this stigma about, like, military people, like, oh, they're hard asses, they don't take no shit from nobody. Like,
well, it's true, we are.
Yeah.
But we turn it off and on.
Yeah, but we're also some of the most caring people on the planet.
You're fucking right, we are.
And you can do both.
Some of the sweetest dudes I've ever met in my life, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some dudes that I would fucking take bullets for in a heartbeat, or I would ride for in a heartbeat. You know, dudes that got me my loyalty. Some of the nicest people in the world. And those people, man, I got more love for. You know, like, you're one of those people for me, you know? So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. Like, if I think about, like, relationships, like, for, like, the two last relationships I was in, the girls just basically, like, broke off with me, like, packed their stuff up, left, and text me later and to let me know that it was over. And it's crazy because like, I never did anything abusive or anything like that, and like I asked one of them like what was like that, and just like they said that they were afraid how I would react if they didn't know how I would take it, or if I'd be angry, or and I was like, but have I showed any actions like that to you to make you feel that way? You know what I'm saying? I feel like as another man, probably like that hadn't been to the military, would probably be more likely to blow up and do something because they wouldn't be able to hold their parent. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe that's true.
And
but it also may never have gotten that far because that other man will probably have a breaking point that was much shorter than yours.
Yeah.
And people tend to push their limits as far as they can. They find their boundary, they find their limit, that where you will break, and then now they know how far they can push, and then they just push that far and stop. But we talked about this before. I think a lot of the man, I really just think that those girls it just wasn't gonna work, man. Like veterans are very intense, man. We're very intense. We love as hard as we fight. You know what I'm saying? We expect the same in return. And we want equality. Generally, we want equality because the military generally spawns an environment of equality. They teach you you're not fucking special. Forget everything your teachers told you, your mommy and daddy told you. You're not fucking special. You're another fucking link in the chain. You don't get no more than nobody else. You don't get no less neither. And it's that understanding, I think, that's better for your overall life perspective. To realize that your shit is not that fucking important. Because everybody acts like their shit is the most fucking important thing in the goddamn world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, everybody nowadays.
Yeah.
Everybody running around thinking their shit is so fucking important.
Yeah. It's funny because like I was just thinking about when I was sitting in traffic earlier, and I was sitting there thinking about it, like how everybody was like this at this one point on Barstown Road. There was people were merging, and it just got crazy. Like everybody was honking back and forth. And it was like 3 or 4 cars, and they were all trying to merge, and but like nobody was doing anything. And I just kind of started driving by, and I was just looking at them. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
What's wrong with these motherfuckers? Why don't they just let it over? And it was like funny because I go like two freaking feet up, and then like another guy's coming out, and I stop and let him out, and I'm just like, oh man, and like I let everybody out, like if they're if I can let them out safely, I will let somebody out like that. Hopefully that they would do the same for me. So I try to drive the right way and more safe. And it's funny though because it's just like. Some people are fucking assholes, man.
Yeah, some people.
You just can't really get around.
But we were having that same conversation earlier though, weren't we? About hurt people, man. You know what I mean? Like. So I think I just have this theory, dude, because only recently has life gotten this fucking easy. Like this is the easiest that life has ever been for humans on this planet.
Yeah. The
easiest it's ever been. Like, you don't even have to go out of your house to get underwear. MeUndies, bruh. On MeUndies.com. Look that shit up.
You say girl undies?
Nah, MeUndies. M-E, MeUndies. And we looking for, that's a plug, by the way. That's a goddamn plug for you. MeUndies, you're welcome. That's free. We don't charge you for that one. But you don't even have to leave your house.
Oh, that's nice.
You know what I'm saying? And you can get it you can just get it shipped, dog. Like look at this. Look, yeah, they got lounge pants, they got trunks, they got all type of shit, dog.
Those are some high class boxers. Oh, what's going on right here?
Lounge pants, yeah, he does look like he got a hog in there, doesn't he? Yeah. It look like a mag light. He ain't the cops, is he? Is that the police on the cover? Carrying a goddamn mag light in his pants. Shit. They got tops too. Look at that.
They could only afford one model.
Hey, and I heard it's supposed to be the softest fucking cotton or material. I don't know. Read what it's made of. Read the shit it's made of. Where the fuck would you go to see that? About the company? No, go to fucking about the company, dog. It's gotta be there. Boy.
You just jump
Right here.
Wow.
Micro Modal. 3 times softer than cotton. Comfy, durable, flat lock stitching, soft, flexible waistband, natural, sustainably sourced fiber. God damn, y'all. Y'all got your shit together.
What's elastin?
I don't know. Google that shit.
8% elastin.
Google micromodal and 8% and elastane. Google micromodal and Google elastane. Two separate Googles. I'll Google twice. It has a Bing lookup thing, but nobody uses Bing because fuck Bing, right?
Yeah.
Don't nobody want Bing.
Yeah.
Get Bing out of here. It's a terrible search engine. Fuck you, Bing. And you're using it. Elastane, an elastic polyurethane material used especially for hosiery, underwear, and other close-fitting clothing. Okay, now Google micromodal. I'm probably saying that wrong. But I am from Kentucky.
Micromodal?
Shut up, motherfucker.
Okay.
God damn, well, let's just keep rolling, man. Fuck it. We just keep on moving. We chug along now. Spandex on Wikipedia came up with elastane. That's kind of sexy. Micromodal. Wikipedia is a type of rayon, a semi-synthetic cellulose fiber made by spinning reconstituted cellulose, in this case often from beech trees. Modal is used alone or with other fibers, often cotton or spandex, which spandex would be the elastane, in household items such as pajamas, towels, bathrobes, underwear, and bed sheets. Modal is processed under different conditions to produce a fiber that is stronger and more stable when wet than standard rayon, yet has a soft feel similar to cotton. Some people report an allergic reaction to products made from Modal. Well, that probably isn't that serious, but sounds pretty good.
It sounds like we came a fucking long way from fucking wool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. That fucking merino wool, though, that's the shit in outdoor hunting clothing.
Yeah.
Which we will be talking about on this podcast. A lot of what we do is we just have conversations and we just let things evolve. So that's what we're going to do on this podcast. We're just going to let things evolve. And hopefully...
We're probably going to get a little weird, too.
Yeah, a little weird.
I don't know why I looked at the camera. The camera's not on anymore.
The camera isn't on, but that one is. So you can look there, my friend. Yes. Put those pearly whites over there. Smile for the camera.
That's it, fine.
Yeah. But we will definitely be talking a lot about PTSD, a lot about our daily lives, a lot about issues that we experience in our daily lives, and we'll also be talking about things that are just fucking fun to talk about for guys, like guns, weed, outdoor shit, hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, a lot of stuff about this area, since we're in Kentucky, in Louisville. We definitely are going to be talking about shit around here. But
we're definitely going to bitch a lot because it's good to get it out every once in a while.
Yeah, we'll have some vent sessions, There'll be a lot of different shit, man, but we like to have fun and we like to laugh at our fucking selves. So that's what we're going to do here. And maybe, just maybe, we'll fucking be good enough to help somebody. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Goes the dynamite. Boom.
Yep. Hopefully, put a smile on somebody's face.
Put a smile on your face. Make the world a better place. Smile on your face. What you wanna do? What you wanna do? Remember that shit?
That's so funny.
I know. Oh, fuck, dude.
The news is so depressing.
I know. You need to get off that shit.
They're wearing fucking veils and shit like that.
But it says why first ladies wear black to meet the Pope. So it sounds like it's a normal thing. But the other headline. Okay, and we need to talk about.
That is a different headline.
It's a different headline, but it's the same fucking story. That's what the problem with the news is, man. Is that the headlines are all clickbait. Everything's about how many fucking hits something gets.
Yeah.
So they're all really, really misleading. And you read the article and you realize that, whoa, that had nothing to do with it. It's almost like if you've ever watched a preview and the way they cut the preview of a movie, the way that it looks like it's a scene is never actually a scene in the movie because they just cut a couple scenes and put them together.
Mm-hmm.
It's never actually a flowing scene in the movie like that.
Yeah.
It's the same way with these articles. Like the headline is such clickbait that it's so distorted as to what the article is really about, and it's basically a lie. And you read the article and you're just like, that has nothing to do with it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the reasons that all this fake news is going on, because of the change in the way that the media is viewed. You know, everybody gets their shit online now.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I mean, that's what a lot of people prefer to, because it's more direct and it's instant too. You know,
Right.
You ain't gotta wait till 8 o'clock to get
Right.
it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, our generation is all around 30 now, so we're all in the workforce professionally, generally, you know. And
I get a lot of news from Facebook. You know, I've
I think a lot of people would fucking agree with you.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy because, like, you know, a lot of people when they wake up in the morning, like, check their text messages, check their emails, check their Facebook, their social medias, and then they're like, okay, well, let's start my day. You know, they get out of bed. You know,
Yeah.
And like whenever that terrorist attack happened in Manchester, my brother had posted something on it, and you know, like, pray for the people of Manchester, and I was like, what's he talking about? And then, like, I scrolled down a couple more things, and I seen a couple links, and I was like, you know, motherfuckers did it again, you know.
Right.
And but it's crazy though, like, that, you know, social media, you know, people can use social media and put out that much information. But I feel like sometimes people also take advantage of that too, and put out like fake stuff, or you know, bash their, you know, exes, or, you know, people that they don't want. They can just get on there and put some fucked up shit too.
Well, it just travels so fast, and
Yeah.
people take everything seriously. You know, like there are a lot of people who believe that, you know, when they believe everything they read.
Mhm.
You know, you would like to think that it's mostly like elderly people who maybe might be a little more trusting, but it's not, man. I mean, there's just so many people who read something, and back to the news headlines. There's a lot of people who report what that clickbait news headline implies. People just read the headline. They don't read the article, and they actually report that what the headline implies as the news. And that's how a lot of this shit fucking gets spread. Just like a lot of these things on Facebook. 'Cause I mean, Facebook's been under a lot of pressure for cracking down on fake news and whatnot. I mean, there's just so much information out there, and it moves so fast. And just honestly, our policies they're not caught up yet, and it just moves. Technology evolves so quickly. I just don't think that we're gonna have policies that are up to date with technology until we have a generation of lawmakers in office that grew up with that technology.
Yeah.
You know, and
that understand it way better.
Yeah, like you look at a guy like Jeff Sessions and you just fucking laugh at him because you know he doesn't even know how to use a computer, and if he does, it's just to look at porn. You know what I mean? Because this motherfucker is the same motherfucker who says, "Oh, I thought the KKK were all good guys until I found out they smoke pot." You know, or said, you know, marijuana. No good people smoke marijuana. You know, he said he equated marijuana to opium or heroin. You know, this motherfucker is so out of touch. It's these people, they just report what they hear, and they never actually look into it to see what the facts show, what science shows, and that's why there's such a big divide in the politics right now, because you have still this dominating force of white Protestant Christians who happen to be conservative, and they have held control over a populace and basically been able to do whatever they wanted to do, especially partnered with big business. And now information travels so quickly they can't do the same shit.
I don't know why this is
funny. You know what I mean?
Turn this off.
Like, they can't do the same shit that they were doing. You know what I'm saying? So, because everything's just out there now. Like, you cannot have anything private. Secrets are gonna come out. Yeah. Everybody's got a fucking camera phone. Everybody can upload things to the internet instantaneously. You know, and it can be seen by millions of people across the world. Billions of people. You know what I mean? So there's just no way that these people can hold this power anymore. And I really feel like right now, and I agree with Joe Rogan on this, and it's just, this is just the last ditch effort of this group of neoconservative Christian, right wingers, white right wingers who
Mm-hmm.
are just grasping to hold on to the good old days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not going to happen. It's going to progress because progression happens whether people like it or not. And and when you look at the vast majority of young conservatives, there's a big shift in policy change. I'm not in agreement with the Republican Party on almost all of their platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself an independent. I have certain traits for social issues and I have certain beliefs for financial issues. I vary. And for me, it's issue to issue. So I have a hard time. I registered Republican in Kentucky, but I voted Democrat in Indiana. So I vote for who I think is the best choice
Mm-hmm.
in each election. And I take each issue by each issue. And the way that I see things is that the younger Republicans now, most of them are for gay marriage and gay rights. They have no problem with that. There's been a pushback because of Trump,
Mm-hmm.
but I think largely the rank and file younger Republicans are softer and softer on gay rights,
Mm-hmm.
which I fully support gay rights. So I hope that it continues like that. They're a lot softer on marijuana. You know what I mean? Probably because they've seen they can actually profit from it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, they say much the cartels
right,
profit from it, so
right, and you would think that, but anyway. But they seem a lot softer on marijuana. I think by and large there's a shift that's coming with the millennial generation when the millennial generation is largely in power as lawmakers in this country. But I think that there's also a group of people who fear the backslide so badly. They just don't they probably see that this is last ditch effort by the neocons to hold power, the Christian conservative right. But I think that they just fear that so much that they're fighting too hard. And what really needs to happen is we need to stop the whole us versus them,
mm-hmm.
and we need to get together and start learning how to compromise with each other, which is probably a fucking pipe dream.
Yeah.
But
Tax.
but it's the same thing with veterans though. It's like veterans, we isolate ourselves, man, and we all need to come together and start helping each other. And that's a lot of what I want to do with this outlet as a podcast. Grumpy Grunts is, yeah, we are fucking grumpy, and I will definitely yell at times because I get way too into certain topics and I'm way too passionate about certain things. I'm just fiery sometimes, man, but I'm a fire sign, man. I'm a Sagittarius, so what do you expect? I'm gonna be fiery, but I fight as hard as I love, and when I love something and I feel passionate about it, I'm gonna fight for it, especially if I feel like it's right. You know, um, and I just really feel like the VA does a disservice to a lot of veterans, man. And and there's a lot of things you can do on your own that you don't need the VA, you don't need medicine. Things that you can do in your own life that you've already learned in the military. You just have lost your way, you've forgotten it. Like sleep, nutrition, exercise. Sleep, nutrition, exercise. 3 things you can do and control yourself that you already know about. You just don't fucking do it. And it's hard when you're depressed, and it's hard to function, man. I used to just not shower for long periods of time. I did not give a fuck about myself. I did not care. I was so dead inside, so numb, man. I just did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And
I've been there a couple times.
I wouldn't shave, wouldn't brush my teeth. I just didn't care. And I ate shit. But it tasted good. It made me feel good for a minute, so I ate it.
Yeah. Well, you see me, I blew up to almost 300 pounds.
I know. I went from 205 when I was 205 at the end of the tour in Afghanistan. I was 215 once I finally got out. And I blew up to 265. And now I'm back down to about 217. But it's all because of nutrition, sleep, and exercise. I have problems sleeping, so they recommend 8 to 10 or whatever it is, but that's not realistic for most veterans. It's just not.
Yeah.
You know, I went through a lot of periods where I just could not sleep, and I would sleep 2 hours, wake up, be up for a little bit, sleep 2 hours, wake up. It's just like I constantly napped, constantly whenever
Well,
I
you did that
felt.
in the military, man.
Yeah,
There's a
and
lot of
yeah,
downtime, so you take a quick
sleep when
power
you
nap.
can, yeah.
Yeah, and because there'll be a lot of times
You go go
where
go go
you only
go.
get 3 or 4 hours a night.
Hmm.
You know, definitely when you're doing any kind of training and stuff, then
Yeah.
you're getting up early and you're going out, out into the field, or when you're on your deployments, man. You know you're out there running missions. Some people only get a few hours of sleep.
It's true.
You know, and plus there's a lot going on around you. It's hard to get sleep, but yeah, you know, you get it whenever you can. If you get some downtime, you take a nap here and there. And I feel like, you know, I know on my like weekends and stuff, sometimes you see me here recently, I've been taking naps during the day.
Yeah.
You know, it's been helping me.
Well,
you know?
yeah, and I think it also
Recharges me.
coincides with your cycle of depression and anxiety. Anxiety is exhausting. Like if you ever been through a panic attack, like when I started getting panic attacks, I didn't even really know if what I felt was a panic attack. I got heard people say they had panic attacks, and I heard the symptoms, but I always questioned like, am I really having this? You know, because it was kind of surreal. But you know, I would feel like I was having a heart attack. You know, my chest would get tight, I would get shortness of breath, and I would have pain in my chest. I would hyperventilate sometimes, and I would just get real tense, like real tense, and basically I would ball my fist like this. And you know, if you're just listening to an audio, it's like flexing, squeezing your hands into a fist and then releasing, and squeezing your hands into a fist and releasing, but doing it in a manner where your fingers and your hands and your wrist and your arms are completely, fully tight. It's like all your muscles, or the fibers of your muscles, are squeezing as hard as they can, or flexing as hard as they can.
Kind of like they're seizing up.
Yeah, just like that, just like you're seizing up, and it's a scary feeling, but it's a feeling I became quite accustomed to. I had them every day when I first got home, for a while, every single day, and I still question like, is this what this is? And you know, when I went to work in corrections, I wasn't home very long when we came back to guard duty, back on reserve in the National Guard. Back to 1 week in a month, I went to work in corrections in Kentucky, and I would have him there on duty, and I just have to step out back and get myself together. And sometimes it would take me 10 minutes, sometimes it would take me an hour and a half. But I just did the best that I could, and I would get so upset and so angry, and I get embarrassed and I get ashamed. Then it was so much emotion, it was just so much to deal with. It was hard, and I should have, in retrospect, or in hindsight rather, I feel like I should have taken more time to deal with it, but I was a hard charger, and I want to get right back to the grind and go right back to work and do, you know, what a husband should do, what a man should do, or what I thought a man should do, you know. And soldiers get real accustomed to not giving a shit about themselves, not taking care of themselves, because you learn to push through discomfort and to push through pain, where a civilian or a typical, just a normal person on the street, when they meet that first layer of discomfort, they quit. Most of them quit. I can't make a blanket rule for everybody, but as a general rule, most of them quit at the first level of discomfort. And what they do for soldiers, particularly if you're, you know, in a combat arms type of a job, you know, where you riding outside the wire and you're doing some shit, you know, you learn to push through multiple layers of discomfort until you hit a level where I think you just have no quit in you. Your body would have to physically give out before your will gave out. You know, and that's how they make these men, and that's why you have Marines who can assault beaches. who can run at walls of lead, walls of bullets. It's why you have soldiers who dive on grenades. You know. Because they understand that they're not fucking special. And their will to complete the mission is stronger than anything else. That's pure selflessness to me. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you hear me bitch about work all the time, man, and that my biggest problem is just getting everybody to do the standard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
well, do you think they even have a standard to begin with?
Oh, there's a standard. Yeah, like and everybody knows the standard.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's what my teachers train us to the standard. And whenever people go with me, I teach them to how I was taught, and I also show them the best way to do things, the easiest way. Because, you know, I've proven time over time, like I have jobs just as big as David and other guys, but you know, I'll still get back before. You know what I'm saying? Because of my work ethic and my technique, and I still provide a better quality of work. You know what I'm saying? I've proved that at work, and it's funny though, because like you would think that those kind of like traits would carry on to like every soldier, but it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, some soldiers, even though they went to war and they you know, served their country, man, like some people just are about themselves, man.
Yeah.
And
well, they were about themselves in the service too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're what the military calls a shitbag or Blue Falcon or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know, I call them bitches. You know, because they're not willing. Because it takes for you have to buy into that system. You know what I mean? You have to buy into it, where you believe in it.
Yeah.
And they only believe in themselves and what they want. So they're never going to achieve that level of servitude. But those are also the people who are going to freeze up on the battlefield or run or hide. Those are not the people that you want around you, because they're only out for themselves. Those are the people that the you know, like selection for special forces, you know, like they weed those people out. They don't want people who are out for themselves. They want people who have bought into the team. You know, because you can do more with those people. You can't trust somebody who's out for themselves. You can't trust them. That's why we call them shitbags and Blue Falcons and penalize them in the military and bully them in the military, because you want them to go away, because you don't want them in a foxhole with you. You don't want them covering your six. Man, fuck that. You know, I can think of a couple guys, I won't mention the name, but, you know, there was a guy on our tour, you know, who made an offhand comment talking about killing another soldier. We over there fighting a war. Now, I understand that in that particular situation, he probably didn't mean literally what he was saying. And in that case, I know him pretty good, and I give him the benefit of that. I don't believe he meant what he said. But goddamn it, I made sure Sergeant Major took his fucking guns away. And I tell you why I did it. Because there has to be fucking consequences. There has to be a deterrent to behavior like that, because that kills morale. You at war. You don't break morale. If you're going to be that goddamn fucking individual who wants to break morale, you're going to be out of my fucking way. I don't want to fuck with you.
Yeah.
There's a reason they took him off of the mission.
Well, you just seen everybody.
Nobody would fuck with him.
Yeah, everybody went to, you know.
Because you know he's going to freeze up on the battlefield when shit hits the fan.
And total, I mean, like, you have everybody coming together and trying to, like, be like, look, this is not right. Something has to be done.
Right.
Then you have to, you know, if people are not feeling safe or not comfortable in a situation, we're already at war, you know what I'm saying? And there's one person that we're at war with, like everybody, we're supposed to be this unit, this team that works together and be all about each other. And then fucking one guy does his own thing and then like make a comment like that, and everybody's already on edge because of how he acts around them and stuff. So like when you make a comment like that, man, like people, you know, trust is everything, dude. War trust is everything. If you can't trust somebody,
you gotta trust the man
have your back,
beside you,
then
Right.
Fucking when all hell breaks loose, man, it's done, dude. Like
Right.
motherfuckers like him, he would be by himself. You know what I'm saying? Probably drop his gun, find him in a foxhole somewhere curled up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And which is okay because like it's not.
He's not going to help the cause.
Yeah,
because he's not equipped to help the cause. I mean, we saw what happened when we was going through that close quarters marksmanship course.
Mm-hmm.
You saw what happened with him when he got under pressure, got yelled at. He broke real quick, man, and we weren't even doing anything tough. You know, his will was weak. You know, and I knew he was a weak person. But maybe not everyone is cut out.
Yeah, the military's not for everybody.
You know, and a lot of people have a will to serve, but his family was religious, and they was doing a lot of missionary work in Africa, and he should have just took his will to serve to the mission field in Africa, and he would have been much better suited because he's a very intelligent person.
I honestly think he's in the military to get out of that.
But you think so? Well, maybe
stuff that he was talking
maybe
about.
he was trying to get away from that. I don't know. I don't know what his motivation was, but I do know that he probably was getting bullied in that tent. But at the same time, I don't have no sympathy because, man, you got to be a goddamn man if you're going to serve your country and go to war. You got to be a goddamn man. You got to be able to stand up for yourself and handle your own business.
Yeah.
Shouldn't nobody be your daddy for you?
Well, he made a lot of enemies.
He made a lot of enemies on his, the way he acted, he was a dick.
Like, I ain't never had a problem because I never let him get to like a level. Because, like, I mean, I was a sergeant, and, like, whenever he talked to me, I'd be like, I never gave him any words because I didn't want him to come to me or ask me questions, so I would just leave him alone. But, like, when he came to talk to me, I would just nip it in the butt, ask a question, and then go back to what I was doing. Yeah. And I didn't do, like, did that to be rude. But, like, I really didn't talk to a lot of people. I talked to some people, but I really didn't talk to a whole lot of people. And but I know that he was not going to be one of those people. So, I was like, fuck that, man. And like I didn't go out my way to be like the dodger and stuff. Man. When he did talk to me, I talked to him and I asked him if I see him. I'm like, hey man, how you doing? You know, not just to see whatever. But like I wasn't going to go out my way to be nice to him, man, just because of all the training we did and how he acted and how he was on mission and stuff, man. Like
Well, I can tell you, there's a lot of people, man, that if I seen him out, I might think about knocking the fuck out of him. There's several people from the tour that I'd probably break their goddamn jaw if I really did what I wanted to do. And I know that sounds bad, but that's just how I feel about them, man. I mean, I just don't have nothing for them. They were just dicks to me, and they hung me out to dry. They put me in bad situations. They didn't listen to reason. I'm a smart motherfucker. I know I am. And if you hang around me a little bit, you'll realize that I am smart. You know, I try to help. You know, and a lot of times it comes off as arrogant, or it comes off like a know-it-all. I'm not trying to be like that. I really am trying to help, and I think that I get misunderstood a lot for that. But, man, when you're in the goddamn war and I'm telling you the right thing to do, and I have more experience in it than you do, and you don't want to listen to me, that's a very frustrating feeling. Because ultimately they hold the ranks. Ultimately, law of the military, you know what I mean? You can't get away from it. Yeah. And you have to just fucking suck it up and close your goddamn mouth. Yeah. You know?
Because, like, that's like when I got the cab, man, and my truck was getting shot out, man. Like, the fucking boomerang was going off. And, like, I did hear, like, a pow, and I thought it was the fucking hatch, man. But, I had my headphones on, or my mic on, so I couldn't really hear it. And then I heard the guy say, he was like, somebody just throw a rock? And then I heard, like, the faint noise of I guess they turned the volume down, but like I heard it, like it sounded like somebody was playing the radio, and I couldn't hear what they're saying, dude. And fucking LT and what's your
turn the volume down?
Yeah, I was like, hey, y'all don't hear that? I was like, shit. And I was like, what's that?
Goddamn LT,
I was like, what is that? And then
shit.
The dog handler in the back, he was like, hey man, I think it's the boomerang. And then I heard the distance and direction, dude. And I started scanning it over there, dude. And I was like, fuck. And I was LT called out, man. And it was just funny though, because they were, I can't remember what they were talking about, but like I literally I think right before that, I was like, man, dude, somebody should just shoot me. You know what I'm saying? I probably wasn't thinking it's just that, but like I was like, damn, this is a fucking.
Right.
It was it was that one mission where it was like we was on the road for like 3 hours or like something like that. We was going all the way. We're up north.
Yeah,
we went to that
Argandab River Valley.
Yeah, like we went to that one cop way out there.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but we probably shouldn't.
Yeah, but
do too much of that.
But yeah, it's funny, man. It was crazy, dude. It was I thought it was funny though, cause they was just talking away, and I was like, you know, shut the fuck up.
Right. I hate it when people have conversations on comms, man.
Yeah, it
just pissed me off because it's like that's not what comms is for, brother.
Yeah.
It's for the goddamn mission. Well, I mean, we also had TCs who slept on the mission too, so I just know that I did everything right that I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with the way that I perform. And that's all you can do in life, man. And that's the thing that I think a lot of veterans have to realize is that you cannot worry about every little thing that happens in this world. Like, you have got to program your mind to understand this concept and this concept only. That you can only stay in your lane. That's all you can do in life. You can only worry about what you do. The only thing you have control over in this life is what you do and what you say. Mm-hmm. And if you can figure that out...
Dude, I just found that out.
You know what I'm saying?
Probably within the last, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Like, slowly but surely, I was like, dude, I have no control of nobody around me. Mm-hmm. And as much as I try to hold on and try to get people to work with me, if they're not willing, don't push it.
Yeah.
Just leave it. Find somebody that is willing to work with
just leave it after number 1. You know, don't keep going back to that well. Mm-hmm. There ain't no water in there.
Yeah.
Let it go. And I understand that we have this, we want to keep persistent and we don't want to quit at anything, whatever. But you know what? It's not a failure. It's just fucking life. Like, people are all different, man. You're going to meet a lot of assholes. You're going to meet a lot of sweethearts, too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So just throw them away and go to somebody else. Like, you don't have to let life control you. You don't have to. In the military, everything is life and death. Everything is so serious and so intense. And you get sucked into that and you get stuck like that because you come home and you get out and it's like you still have this mentality that everything is life and death. Mm. And, you know, I used to freak out. I used to be like, no, that's not fucking right, because if this happens, then this might happen, and 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 then somebody could fucking die.
I still do that.
You know what I mean? And that's the way that you're taught to think, and that's the right way to think in the military. But when you're not in the military anymore, you have to learn that not everything is life and death. Like, when I finally realized that deadlines actually don't matter to civilians, god damn, my life got a lot better.
Yeah.
Like, it matters in the military. Like, deadlines are real in the military. Mm-hmm. But nobody follows any rules in the civilian world. Everybody just does whatever they want to do, and they get mad and they talk shitty to each other, and they vent out whatever they want to say, and then they just move on. It's a totally different system. Where in the military, you're not going to talk shit. You'd rather fight. Yeah. You'd rather get in a fist fight to settle shit. I remember in basic training when we had problems, I was at Knox, and our drill sergeant would chain the fucking bay door shut and throw 2 sets of boxing gloves, and we'd circle up. And that's how people would solve their differences. And that's the culture, the whole generation kill culture. It's like tough guys, hard guys, tough motherfuckers, man. Some of the toughest of people I've ever met. But what do you do after? Because time is not on your side. You're only a young, tough man for so long. What are you going to do after that time's passed? Mm-hmm. You know, and that's the problem with PTSD. Mm-hmm. You don't know where to go. Yeah. You know, you have all these problems, all these issues that didn't exist before, and now your identity's gone. Mm-hmm. You have to figure out how to relearn how to live life and exist in society, because your society was different in the military. It was very different. Mm-hmm. And you'll always look at people and be like, he's soft. They're soft. I do it all the time. And I don't like weak people. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like there's a lot of weak men around me a lot of times. And I don't like weak men because I don't feel safe with weak men. Mm-hmm. I feel like if a dude's tough like me, then he's got my 6. I can depend on him.
Yeah.
You know.
And I felt used to be like that too. I feel that way. Here I felt like that until like here recently, man, because I started to realize that my expectations for people was like way too high, man.
Yeah.
Like, like what I would. Because I always feel like if I can do it, or if I'm doing it, they should be doing it.
Yeah, I have
Or
the
you know what I'm
same
saying?
thing. I have the same fucking thing,
And
man.
it's not how it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's definitely a military learned trait,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to break because you're taught that way to strive for excellence and do your best or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And try to you know don't try to be the best you can, but also try to bring the people around you and motivate them to be the best that they can, so y'all can be the best y'all can be together. And you can't bring that lifestyle into the civilian setting, man, because
No. Well,
like
people can't take criticism first of all.
yeah, and it's not bad. It's just like
They love to give it,
like
but
I want to
they can't take it.
Like if I have a problem or issue, like I always try to go to that person like, look, this is if you do it this way, it'd be a little bit easier. And like when you do it this way, like this is the problems that it causes. But people like they even that simple conversation, like they get butthurt about it, and they just go crazy, and they're just like and probably should say butthurt. That's funny though.
I don't think there's anything wrong. Well,
Yeah.
I can see whether people would catch offense to it. Well, let me put it this way. Now, I was walking through the hall at work the other day, and I passed one of my coworkers, and she said, "Oh, hey, let me get out of your way. You look like you're on a mission." And she said, "Well, you always look like you're on a mission." Mm-hmm. And it's just funny because I thought, I don't get to see myself. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I'm perceived. Yeah. I only know how I perceive. I know how I perceive that I'm perceived. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know how people really perceive me. Yeah. But apparently that's how she perceives me, that I have this, like, very focused, I guess, body language and look on my face or something that just makes her think that I'm always look like I'm on a mission. I always look like I'm tuned in. I'm moving with a purpose. Mm-hmm. But boom, moving with a purpose. That's what you fucking hear all the... Oh my God. It's all you hear. Move with a purpose. Move with a purpose. And that's what the sergeants scream when they want you to go faster. Move with a purpose. Yeah. I used to say it myself. All the time. Attention to detail. The military just instills these rapid fire, repetitive phrases, because in the military, repetition is the key to learning. So they say the same shit over and over and over again, so it sticks. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those concepts, I think you hear it so much that it becomes part of you. Attention to detail. Mm-hmm. That became part of me.
Yeah, I mean, I do it today at work, or like, till today, like every time I go to the door and knock, I basically say the same exact thing I say to everybody, like, hey, how you doing? I'm chill with clothes by the time. And I'll shake their hand, and then I come in and I'll be like, looks like I'm if I'm doing their master closet or their pantry, looks like I'm doing your master closet for you today. Just a little small talk, but it's the same exact thing every single time, because it's enough to get me in, get to the closet so I can start my work. You know what I'm saying? But it's enough to engage the client. Show my personality, but I'm not going to sit there and draw out the conversation, because I'm there to work. So short, simple. And I go to work. And whenever I do have problems, I come to them and it's all about work, and I go right back to work. I don't try to chit chat a lot, because I don't focus on my job, man. And a lot of people usually respect it, because they're like, "Oh, you're a hard worker." And a lot of people come up to me and tell me to take a break. And I'm like, "Oh, you can take a break. Here's water," and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, it's fine. I'm used to it." Yeah. But I feel like it's definitely something a lot of people don't really do in the civilian world, which is fine. But I feel like,
well, there's a certain professionalism that is taught in the military, and a certain there's like this whole customs and courtesies. Like that's a class. Mm-hmm. You have to learn the customs and courtesies of that system, and it's formal. It's very formal because it's an old system. So it's just different. Yeah. People always talk about they like military guys or veterans because they always say yes sir, yes ma'am, no sir, no ma'am. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're polite, and they're very rigid. Like because in drill, in ceremony you do real rigid, robotic almost moves. You know what I mean? Like it's very just tight, man. You know, and it's all in tune because it has to be, because it all has to be at the same time. You have to be on the same sheet of music, everybody, you know. And I think that's kind of the way that we conduct ourselves in life, and we don't see it
Mm-hmm.
because we're ourselves. We can't see ourselves, you know, and it's normal for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if veterans can start understanding some of the things that maybe they don't see or haven't thought about, it's good because it gives you a different perspective and it helps you see things from a civilian's point of view. And I think that a lot of civilians are more easily intimidated. You know, and I don't think that's anything that anyone should be proud of. I think it's just the truth of things is that veterans come off aggressive. They come off as harsh, but that is the way that they are made.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a necessity. It's a necessity to be like that.
Yeah, like whenever I started to have like all the main problems at work, and I mean, the problems were there. I just started voicing my opinion and standing, basically just standing up for myself, man. And it was, I really started doing it when I started doing my therapy for my PTSD, and I started learning. It was like I was relearning how to do these things. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fucking grown ass man, and I'm relearning to do these simple things and how to reconnect and how to like just embrace people without coming off as like a dick or an asshole, or being rude or whatever. I'm just just basically learning how to just re-talk to people and just reconnect, man. And it's crazy because like every time I would blow up at work, or it's like I wasn't even blowing up, but like everybody would say, like you need to watch your attitude. I'm like, where's my attitude? Like I'm direct, and I was like, I'm just already direct. I was like, and they were like, well, look how you're talking about it. Like, Mike, I'm not yelling at you. All I'm doing is trying to talk to you for a way that you can understand everything. And I was like,
but see, that comes off as confrontational.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every time they say stuff, I give them the explanation. Like I tell you, this is why. I mean, I was like this. I tell them.
But it comes off. It's strong though.
Yeah.
Like you come off like it's not necessarily mean.
Yeah.
Or aggressive in nature, but it's very strong, confident speech. Yeah. And strong confidence is not something that exists in most men nowadays. Yeah. Most men is soft ass bitches.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah. And it's crazy because
so fuck yeah, they're gonna be intimidated by a strong man.
Yeah, but it's silly. It's like if they come to me and they're like, okay, well you need to check your tone, or you need to calm down, or you need to speak slowly, or like speak calmer, and I'm like, okay, look, Mike, I'll speak to you how, like that's how to do it. I have to be like, look, I'll speak to you however you need me to speak to you, so you can understand, understand what I'm trying to get. I was like, and I told him, I was like, I feel like a lot of times I never get to the point of the problem because people always try to tell me that I have a attitude. And I said,
they want to stop you before you even.
I was like, Mike, there's been a lot of times I came in here,
right?
And it's like, you're always telling me like calm down and stuff, man. And I was like, look, I am calm.
Yeah, they're bitching at you about how you're speaking.
Yeah.
And not even letting you say the problem.
Yeah. And like I have to like sit back and I'll be like, now if I can just talk.
That was my marriage, bro.
And I would like literally have to say that stuff, man. And then like, but that's the thing, was like he tries, man, because like he comes to me and he's like, look, I know that I have to learn how to like treat, or how to like talk to you and how to like approach you about certain ways. And he's like, I understand like the stuff that you're going through. And he's like, I'm not, he came to me, he had man to man to me. He was like, I don't really understand a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm willing to learn and work with you, man, because I know you do the good work and I know you're a good person.
I'm sure you respect that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, so like, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, but like, it's funny, like even with the problems, like I'll tell him the problems and he'd be like, well, you do this. And I'm like, Mike, I'll only call you after I've done every solution. Every
well,
way to try to fix
but
it.
Joe, that's another thing that you have to understand, and this is one of my chief complaints, and you've heard me bitch about it before, is that people don't exhaust every option before they come to me with a problem, and they don't bring a solution with them. Mm-hmm. And that is not the norm for civilians. Civilians, they see the problem, they say, oh, shit, I have a problem, this is hard, I don't want to try very hard, so I'm going to just take it up higher. And that's what they do. So I highly doubt Mike would be used to a person actually going through all the steps to do everything within their power to solve that problem and having a solution prior to coming to their boss. Mm-hmm. I do that at work myself, and that wins me points because it's not the fucking norm. Mm-hmm. A lot of the traits. See, this is something veterans have to understand. Mm-hmm. So if you fucking don't listen to anything I fucking say at all, listen to this part. Because this is the fucking bread and butter. This is the fucking golden nugget, dude. This is Willy Wonka's ticket, motherfucker. Veterans are better at a lot of things than civilians are. But they feel so fucking crazy and they feel so out of place that they cannot see that they are the sharper tool in the shed. They are. There's a lot of veterans out there who will work their dicks into the dirt, meet every deadline, and do everything that they have to do. They'll continually hold a culture of professionalism within the office. They'll be honest about shit. There's a lot of good dudes out there who got in the military for all the right reasons and who came out better. There's a lot of dudes who got in the military for the wrong reasons that came out better. But veterans have to understand that they have a set of skills that other people don't have. And if we can all just learn to cope with PTSD, learn what works for us so that we can exist and function in our daily life, we can use that toolbox, that set of skills that we have that separates us from the civilian population and makes us the sharper tool. We can use that to our advantage and be successful and be highly functioning individuals. Because guess what? Civilians is just as fucked up as we are. Mm-hmm. I work with a lot of crazy people.
Yeah.
And they ain't got no excuse. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to belittle anybody who goes through mental illness. You know, I go through mental illness, so I feel for you. Mm-hmm. The point I'm trying to make is that a lot of people use PTSD in the workplace against veterans to sabotage them. Mm-hmm. When they exhibit the same symptoms and the same problems that veterans go through. And rather than band together to create a culture of awareness and compassion where you can help each other and support each other and be happier in your life and in your workplace, what do? We make us versus them and these fucking civilians who are all out for themselves. I'm not blaming every civilian. I'm just saying it's typically veterans have more of a team mentality because they've been trained that way. Mm-hmm. A lot of veterans don't give a fuck about sabotaging other people, but there's bad apples too. I'm just saying, as a general rule in my life, in my experience, civilians, they do the opposite of what they should do. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be part of the team. They want to say, you're fucked up. I'm not. Even though I got the same symptoms and all the same shit as you, even though if you looked at both pictures, they're the same. But you're fucked up, I'm not.
Yeah.
Because you're a veteran and you have PTSD. Yeah. It's an easy tag. Mm-hmm. That's where the stigma comes from. Yeah. That's the part that the veterans are afraid of. But you can't be afraid of a fight, motherfucker, because you went to war.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times people expect me to be better, like to always do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a lot of times not fair, because that's just like,
you feel like the standards
are like with that work, you know what I'm saying? Like when I was having the problems about the employee, and I went through both of them and I did everything right. You know what I'm saying? And I told them about everything that was going on and everything. And like basically all the solution was like, well, just remember, you got to be the better person, man. Like, if you say something, walk away, you come tell us and we'll handle it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do I always have to be the better person? I've been the better person this entire time. I was like, I've found coming to you now because I'm at the limit where I do not want to put up with it anymore, and I will not.
Yeah.
that, and I was like, that's why I'm coming to my boss and the owner of the company right now,
Right.
and I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
I was like, something has to be done,
Mhm.
you know, and it took a like in like honestly like the solution was for me to come in later. And that was the only solution.
To remove you from the situation. But
Yeah.
see, you hit on a point though that we just made not too long ago. You said, I'm only coming to you because I've tried everything.
Yeah.
Right? The same thing that you tell Mike when you have a problem on a job. Mike, I'm only calling you because I've already tried everything. You've exhausted every effort. Every other option has been exhausted. And veterans do that in their life because that's the way they're trained to be. We're trained to follow through.
Complete the task at hand.
Do everything we can. You don't quit. You keep trying. You keep trying. You try different ways. You use your resiliency to keep bouncing back from failure, and you keep trying until you complete the mission. And it's the same thing we were talking about earlier when we were saying that most civilians in life, they just bring problems straight to their boss. You know, where a lot of veterans will come with a solution and then they'll try everything else on their own. You know, it's the same principle. You know. It's just that it's that attitude though that sabotages us sometimes because like in my failed marriage with my ex-wife, I should have left a lot earlier, but I couldn't leave until I felt that I had exhausted every other option, and the only option that was left was to leave, because I had to know that when I quit, I had tried everything. I had done everything that I could. It was the only way that I could feel okay about it. And I credit a lot of that feeling, that irrationality, to my military training.
Yeah, because like a lot of people would have left, you know what I'm saying, like, a lot sooner.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of people give up on things, you know what I'm saying. I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, definitely for like for guys in the military or girls, whoever's military folk, man, I feel like they typically in their relationships that they're doing the bulk of everything that needs to be done. I know in my relationships I usually do, you know, and I know when you're in your relationships you do.
Well, I think a lot of that is because we picked the wrong people too, though.
It could be, and
because we're selfless in nature.
Yeah.
We don't care. I mean, look at the way we live, man. I mean, if you were just listening to, and well, shit, it's not just the people who listening to just the audio. It'd be anybody who's watching. I mean, you can see here we got some beer signs up, but I mean, it's relatively bare in this apartment is what I'm getting at. We live with the bare minimum. You know, and that's how we like it. That's what we're accustomed to.
Dude, we got a fan over from the 80s.
Yeah, we do have a fan. Yeah, I mean, and that fucking futon boy.
He got that 70s brown too, so it might be 70s. I don't know.
Well, that come out of my papa's music store, and they used to smoke in the business. Mm-hmm. So that's probably left over from the 80s and 90s. But I mean, it is 2017, so shit, if it come from 1990, that's what, 27 years old.
Yeah,
it's still old as fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's old as for a box fan. You know, I mean, shit. I know you can't buy them like that no more. I guarantee it. It rattles like a motherfucker, but it still blows good. Hey, that's what you say about old bitches. You keep on. That was wrong. I'm sorry, baby Jesus. But no, we do. We live on bare minimum, brother. We do, but we both like it like that. We both like it like that. That's what we want. That's how, like, since you know you got out of your relationship, I got out of my marriage. Now we live together, and we live how we want to live. And what we have chosen naturally is to live with less. And I think it's because we're used to living out of a bag, for one, and for two, well, a couple bags. But you know, for two, there's simplicity in less.
It's easier to find shit.
It is easier to find shit. That's true. And I like my house to be relatively neat and tidy. So, you know, I'm a little OCD with cleaning, and I don't bitch about it because I know it's my fucking problem. It's my weird quirk that I have is I constantly have to keep everything picked up. I guess maybe, but my house was pigsty. I love my mama to death, but she did not keep a clean house. And maybe a lot of it was her depression, I don't know. But she did not keep a clean house. And then when I was married, Casey's parents, good Lord, they didn't keep a clean house. And then she didn't keep a clean house. Good Lord, I've lived in filth my whole life, you know. So the military was the first time I had ever lived in a place where it was neat and tidy. and I just really like it better. So I just try to keep it that way.
Yeah.
You know, I just like it to be neat and tidy, man. It's easy, like you said, it's easier to find shit, and it makes me feel out of control when things are cluttered. And I think that goes back to my childhood. I relate a lot of out of control is a good description of my childhood. And I think I relate the house being cluttered to being out of control.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know. Definitely growing up in my household, man. With my parents, when I was a kid, there were 6 of us living in a 2-bedroom house. So, we had a basement that one of my brothers slept in, and me and my brother Adam, we slept in like the dining room, I guess it would be, kind of set up. And it's funny though, cause like it was so much of us, but it was like always dirty. And it's funny though, cause like it would be picked up, but like it would just be dusty and dirty and stuff on it stuff. So like it wasn't like trash everywhere, but it'd be dirty, and like you have pathways like to where you're going, and stuff, and like there would just be a lot of junk, and like a lot of little fixtures and just a whole bunch of just pointless shit.
Yeah.
And then so like I. Like whenever, like I would like mostly anytime where I live places, like I actually live places, like the most unorganized room is my bedroom. And that's just because I got my clothes and stuff like that, and I throw all that stuff just on the floor and stuff.
Yeah.
But I usually, like everything usually has a place. Like I keep all my clothes in a pile right here, you know what I'm saying? And then like all my junk pocket stuff I keep on my desk, you know what I'm saying? So like everything has its own little place. But I definitely feel you on that. Having to be a little bit more tidy, man. Definitely with being in the situations that we both come from,
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell a story though. Yeah, I gotta tell a quick story though, because it's so indicative of how veterans are, and like it's only funny if you're a veteran. So like, when we first moved into this apartment in February, I remember I started noticing that you had this K-bar, and you would put it like in different places, like, but it'd be hidden, but I would always find it. And I noticed the first time that you had put it in the couch cushion, like in between the armrest and the couch cushion, and sunk it down in there where you could pull it out real easy, but it wasn't visible to the naked eye. But I found it, and then I noticed it was there for a little while, and then I noticed I took a shower, and I got out of the shower and noticed then it was sitting up on top of the medicine cabinet on the wall, and like I just noticed it moved around. Like every so often you would move it to a different hiding spot, but I would always see it. And I remember I went up to you and I was like, motherfucker, how come you keep moving all these weapons? How the fuck am I supposed to find anything if somebody breaks in if you're constantly moving it? And you just looked at me and smiled. You're like, you noticed it was moving, didn't you? And I was like, fuck. Yeah, I did. That's why I'm coming here yelling at you.
Like I had it for where, like, you know what I'm saying, you would know, or like another veteran would know, because like, I put it right there when you sat down, because like I know when I sat down, I used to put my hand right there, like where I sat, and it's just right there. You're like, oh, what's that? And you're like, oh, okay. And it's hidden. It's hidden, but it's not hidden. You know what I'm saying? It's like hidden in plain sight. But most people would walk past it and not realize it. But it's like, all right, it's like on that brain games or whatever that thing was, when they show you the spiders and the snakes and you pick up on that. It's the same thing with us, because like we're used to like weapons and stuff like that, and seeing and kind of like
and we're hyper vigilant too. You're made to be hyper vigilant.
Yeah.
You're made to notice. You're taught to notice details that normal people wouldn't notice. You process your surroundings much quicker.
Yeah.
It's rapid, very fast. You process everything around you.
Yeah. Well, I know
you see more.
Yeah, I constantly look around and be like, all right, if something happens right now, what would I use for a weapon? Like that's when we were sitting here the other day and we were talking about, well, like if somebody kicked in the door, what would we do?
Because we constantly run scenarios. Yeah, that's what you do in the military. You're constantly running scenarios in your head to have a battle plan, so you're not caught off guard on your ass, or with your dick in your hand, So constantly in life still, I run fucking scenarios. I run battle plans. I might be walking into the gas station and say, okay, if I walk in, there's a dude holding up the front counter, holding up the clerk up there. this is what I'm gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Or what if somebody just kicked in my door right now? What would I do? You know, and I run these scenarios, and it makes me feel crazy. I don't share it with people, which you probably shouldn't share with people. But it's just a side effect.
Yeah.
It's a side effect, man. Like it's part of your training. You're made to do that. You're made to run scenarios. You're made to do threat analysis. You're made to think that next step ahead. Like you're trying to play chess in a world full of checkers. And it's fucking hard. But you just have to accept that this is just the way that I am, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I just have to remember that this is just a side effect, and it's not real. The likelihood of somebody kicking in that door is very, very small. But there's nothing wrong with you knowing what to do. You just have to understand that the probability is low.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be afraid of it.
Yeah. And that's something that I, figure out a little bit each day, man. Definitely with going to therapy and having simple conversations with you, man.
Yeah.
Like we figured these things out, and
we help each other a lot. I mean, we support each other a lot.
I mean, you think about what our buddies, man. Like even our other military buddies, they call us, man, and they, we always try to give them the best advice, and they tell us their stories, man, and we can relate, dude. We're going through like how many military buddies that we know right now are going through the same exact thing. Like how many people went through divorces at the same time, bad breakups. You know what I'm saying? It's constant.
Yeah.
And what does it feel like? Feel like it all goes in circles.
Yeah, because and that's the thing, man. It is circular. It really is circular, and things are all relative, And that's the thing about the military is like you learn real quick that like you're not fucking special, Like, but everybody's connected because people are relatively the same. Like just because you're from another country doesn't mean you have different emotions to the same action. Most people feel the same way about things. And I've had a lot of conversations with guys that are my close friends. And when I talk to him, man, I just think, okay, this is how I felt. This is what I went through when I was, going through divorce. Or this is how I felt when I had a breakdown and went on a drinking bender for a couple of days. Didn't sleep, This is what, and I just put myself in their position where they're at. And I remember how it was for me. And I just think, what would I have wanted to hear? What did I want someone to either do for me or say to me? And then I just try to do that. And 99% of the time it works. Because people just want to... Vets they seem like they don't want to hug, but they really do. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people really do want to hug. They're so rough, man. They don't know how to ask for it. And like sometimes we were talking about the other day, like sometimes veterans get worked up, man, and they have these mental breakdowns, and you have to be stern and tough with them. But it has to be someone that they respect to do that. That's why it's so important for veterans to have other veteran friends. And that's why I think groups like the VFW and the American Legion, I really think that younger veterans, by and large, younger veterans have not joined those groups.
Yeah.
The Iraq and Afghanistan vets are like probably the first real large veteran generation to not join those groups. And a lot of it's because they have failed, those veterans. Those organizations have. And I think that they recognize that, and they understand that they didn't expect it to be any different. It always been that veterans just knew they were there and they would just come, But the generation that fought in Iraq and Afghanistan and OEF and OIF and New Dawn, those people just weren't like that. And I think that the American Legion and the VFW recognize that now, and they're doing more. But I also don't think they know what to do. And I think it is going to take our generation to just take that step and just fucking realize that we need to band together. We need to make friends. So I would highly encourage people, it's something that we're going to do ourselves. But let's try to get back involved in the VFW and the American Legion, because it is a place for veterans to be together and to link up. And it's probably the biggest, most well-known. They have the most posts around, and they're going to be most available. And, veterans are the same from all generations. And I learned that at the VA, having conversations with guys. Nothing changes, man. The system's old. It's the same system. And you have all the same responses and all the same feelings to war because it's the same type of trauma, And And I think that it's just, I know how beneficial we are to one another, our relationship, our support system. That I know that you know how I feel, truly know how I feel, and you, I know the same thing about me. And I really feel strongly that veterans need other veterans. They just do.
You know what we should try to organize?
What?
Like a small like veteran trip, like do a camping trip, but actually go to like a campground, like a and go to what's that place down by the gun range. There's like a campground, but they actually have like a camp thing where you can go like rent boats, go to the lake and rappel and all that stuff. Things like Camp Flamingo or something. I can't remember.
Oh, down by Knox.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're
well,
talking about.
like rent a place out like that and like take vets and put them in like similar settings for like the like they wouldn't do in the military. But basically, don't give them like crazy tasks. Just give them fun things to do. You know what I'm saying? And you can hang out. You know, you have to talk and just have a good time. I mean, it could be over a weekend getaway, but then like we can go to like our employers and people like that and see if they want to donate to like pay like the cover for like one of the vets. You know,
Well, it's funny that you said that.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Like a thing where like how much it would be to send one vet. You know what I'm saying, for this weekend thing. And if they want to like sponsor a vet, they can do that and they can pay for that person to go, and we'll get vets that want to go, and we'll set something like that.
Well, it's funny that you said that because I listened to a podcast today, Joe Rogan Experience. He had Dan Doty on, and Dan Doty worked for 0.0. They did Meat Eater, and anyway, he quit that. Now he's doing this thing called Everyman, and it's like these wilderness retreats. And I think he started off doing, I think, state gig where he had like at-risk youth, at-risk teens, like all boy groups, and now he's expanded to do like men's retreats, and a lot of it is, man, I don't think Dan's a vet, but I know he talked about having a lot of veteran friends, and a lot of the issues that he addresses and the way he addresses is very much in line with what we are doing, or what we're trying to put out there, and it's a lot of our values, a lot of our techniques and beliefs and perspective. So I wanted to bring that up because I think that might be a way to partner something. I think he's out west right now, or maybe he's in New York State. I can't remember it. I have to Google it. But it's something to think about, and I think he just started an Everyman podcast as well.
Well, we have plenty of state parks around here too.
Yeah, I mean, there's
do like weekend getaways and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that those are good, man. I think that men need to be around other men, and I think they need to be around other men who have similar problems, because I think men are like demonized nowadays in our culture. I think, especially men who are a little bit more macho. Like all of a sudden it became uncool to be macho. Like, it's not okay to be macho. It's not okay to be masculine. And that I mean, maybe it's not that way, but that's the way it feels to me.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like, we were talking about this, and like whenever we went to Lloyd's birthday party, and they were like, Joe's always smiling, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, why I smile? Because like, well, I smile now because like I always think of like things to make me smile, but like it's mostly natural. But like now, like I remember, because I used to never smile. I always have a serious face, man.
Yeah.
And people were like, I was like the guy that just like had attitude and grumpy, and I grumpy all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like
grumpy ass grunt.
But that's not me. You know what I mean? So like now, like I'll get around people and I'll think about like old things that we've done, and like that's why like I'll be like looking and I'll just smile. Like, well, like I look at people and I'm like, I'll be thinking about something and I'll smile. They're like, oh, you're all a happy ass. You know what I'm saying? All smiley. And
Well, yeah, and you can get like that, you know, but you have to work at it.
Yeah, and it took me a long time to get there.
Right. You have to be patient with yourself, man. But you can learn to love yourself, and when you learn to love yourself, then you're just living life.
Yeah.
You're just enjoying being alive, man, because you realize that you're one of the fortunate ones to make it home, and that you are the master of your ship. Like, if your body is a vessel, you command it, and you just have to relearn how to apply the same principles from the military. You have to learn how to apply those to your civilian life in the proper manner. And once you figure that out, man, and not all the same things work for everyone. You know, you have to try a lot of shit. I tried a lot of shit. And a lot of shit didn't work for me. But I know what works for me now. And, you know, throughout this podcast, you know, we're going to be talking about different things that work for us and different things that didn't work for us. You know, or anything that we read or anything new, you know, we're going to try to keep people updated, because really, the thing about having PTSD and being a disabled vet is the VA system is so convoluted with so much different shit, and nobody ever knows where to tell you to go to look. So it's not that they don't have the information. It's not that the material isn't available. It's that nobody knows where to get it from. You know? So my biggest complaint about the VA is, like, I don't know where to go.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't know how to do it.
I feel like a lot of times I go there to the VA. Definitely the one where I go do my classes now. Like, I get there, I get there early, but usually there's only 1 or 2 vets in there. And I look around, there's 20 some people on staff going in there and doing that. And they're like, I'm like, what is everybody doing? And then, like, it's funny though, because, like, whenever you actually ask people for help, like, they always point you to somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's not my job, and which is fine. But, like, if it's something that you can answer, or you can know the answer, you should help me out. You know?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I want to do with this podcast is bring a lot of those things. First of all, bring them out in the open. We need to talk about them, because I don't understand. It's not unpatriotic to criticize the VA. I don't know if anybody feels that way. I feel like there's some people who do feel that way. But it's not unpatriotic to criticize a system that is supposed to be one of the benefits of your service. You know, one of the benefits of being a disabled vet is that I have free health care. I thank my country for that. But it ain't like I didn't earn it. So I'm going to hold them accountable like a good NCO. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to hold their asses accountable. And I'm going to tell the truth. I've had some bad experiences with the VA, but I've had a lot of good ones too. But there's no reason why the VA can't listen to vets. People who make policy that affects veterans should know what the hell they're talking about. If you're passing laws or you're passing policies over the Veterans Administration, why don't you talk to some veterans first? Why don't we get some research out there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things on the market now. There's a lot of things that this country needs to start thinking about if it's really going to do true justice to its veterans, to the men and women who volunteered to serve their nation. It's only like 1% of the population. So if the fucking government can't get it together for 1%, or maybe it's less than 1%, it might be less than 1%, but we gonna call it 1% just for right now. But if the fucking government can't get their shit together to serve 1% of the population, I'm praying for the other 99.
Yeah, crazy, right? Yeah.
I mean, how is it that 1% of the population can't get the medical care that they deserve, and yet you got free clinics? And I'm all for social programs. I'm very socially liberal, but veterans if you have socialized health care, the ultimate goal would be to have equal health care across the board. But I'm just saying, I feel like men and women who volunteer to serve this nation, they should get first dibs. They should get first dibs.
Yeah. Well, they should just at least get the treatment that they deserve.
Yeah. just give them what they deserve, because I feel like they're never improving the VA system, but they're constantly trying to improve other free services. Now, I'll say this though, the damn way it's going, they're going to defund all those government services. It looks like they're trying to take money from Planned Parenthood and things like that, which I do not support. We need our government systems. And maybe I'm out of touch on this issue. I just feel strongly in support of veterans. And I'm not trying to take anything away from anyone else. I'm just saying that when the funding is available and the opportunity arises to fix a broken system, there is no excuse for the United States government to not put the effort and the data behind fixing that system. The VA is a broken system. It's a broken system.
Yeah.
You look at the data, veterans died waiting for care. But you're going to have to change the way you do things. Because these men and women, they did not expect to have the problems that they now have. You got to have a little bit of understanding that, hey, you might have to work a little bit harder. And they're going to have to pay the people who work in those clinics. They're going to have to pay them what they're worth. I don't know what they get paid now, but I'm just saying if they're not paid what they're worth, they better be. We got to find a way to make this work.
Yeah.
And if that, I don't know what the answer is. I haven't looked very deeply into allowing veterans to go out into private providers where it's like a single payer system where the government just foots the bill wherever you go. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it. I don't know what it would cost. I don't even want to get into it because I just don't know enough about it. I'm not versed on it well at all.
Yeah, we'll do some research on it.
Yeah, we'll have to do some research and talk about that on another podcast. But I'm just saying the VA system, for a lot of veterans with PTSD, they're just not getting the care that they deserve. And I understand that there is care available. But I don't even know if the practitioners even, if most of them even fully understand what they're dealing with. I don't even know if the treatment is really all that effective. Because the last time I checked, most of the treatments that they're using were developed on and tested on initially on sexual trauma victims. Now I'm sure that there's some data that speaks to their effectiveness with combat stress. However, I know that it didn't work for me personally. Prolonged exposure and cognitive processing therapy, neither one of them worked for me. There may be other variables and maybe I just wasn't ready. But what helped me the most was self-awareness, was meditation, deep thinking, taking time to do those things, taking time to process, taking time in my room alone in the dark to think and to search my mind and to try to rationalize these things and constantly trying to critique myself to be aware of what truly was happening, to learn again to rationalize situations, to gain my discipline back. I got there through nutrition, sleep, exercise, meditation, and taking out time for relaxation.
Yeah.
It's what worked for me.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm in the process of doing the cognitive process therapy, and I'm just on my first few weeks. Like I think that it was my third or fourth week going, and I feel like it helps me, but I feel like it helps me now because I have a better understanding of what I'm dealing with. And I've been going to my other therapists and learning more about it and actually opening it up to more people about it. So I'm becoming more comfortable and getting a better grasp on how to handle my emotions and feelings and stuff. And I think that this program is going to be a good stepping stone for me, man. To get me pointed in the right direction, man. And hopefully, I'm going to stick with it, man. And hopefully, over the next few podcasts and over the next weeks, because it's a 13-week process, and hopefully, after at the end of it, I can talk more about the process and just share my experience, and then and hopefully I can talk about it and explain it and basically show everybody that there's stuff out here and some of it that does work, and like we were talking about earlier with the working and exercise, man. When we were hitting the gym tough and sticking to a good paleo diet, man, we were feeling good, man.
Yeah.
I was sleeping a few hours a night, and I'd wake up and I'd be fine. I was hard charged, ready to go, and I feel like we just have to find a good balance because I know a lot of times at work we get really busy and we don't have the time, and we change up different like what kind of techniques of workouts and stuff that we want to do and things like that. But I think we're in that process of finding what works the best for us,
Yeah.
and as long as we keep doing that,
Building a
we're
routine.
we're finding a good platform. And I think that's that good structure. I think that's what we definitely need. And I think with us living together and working and knowing each other, man, from being on deployment together and everything, we just work really good together, and we know what we need to help motivate us and get us along through our problems and stuff like that. And I'm hopefully we use this podcast as a good platform to get that these ideas and these techniques out there, man. And I'm excited. I feel like we're going on the right path, man. I think that we got a lot of information we can go over, and I feel like we can get a lot of stuff out there, man. And I'm really excited to get it off the ground, man.
I am too, man. I'm very
been
excited.
talking about it for a while, so
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good point to wrap it up at. I'm super excited, man, and we covered a lot of good stuff tonight. But I've had to take a terrible, terrible piss for quite some time now.
those are pee buckets.
I don't know. I need to get the urine lot thing. Isn't that the thing that has the catheter on it? But I mean, I've had a real catheter before. I don't want that. I'm just saying the one that has like the little condom thing that has a little tube on it. I think people like wear it when they like wait in lines for the new iPhone. Hashtag woke. So pretentious. All right, this is Grumpy Grunts. We're out.
Signing off.
That concludes the debut episode of Grumpy Grunts podcast. We'll be coming back real soon with the special Memorial Day podcast. And we'll be letting you guys know on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel when that'll be hitting. Make sure you hit those links if you've made it this far to grumpygrunts.com. We got links to our YouTube and our Facebook page. And as always, thanks for listening. Joe, you're supposed to say it with me.
Oh, thanks for listening.
Yeah, that'll work.